Good morning. It is Tuesday morning. And hey, I've been having a number of people come into my life, as well as myself, dealing with the things that are going on in the world. And there's, so much uncertainty and so many things happen and people getting sick. And I can go on and on and on. But what I really want to talk about today are 3 lessons that I learned, that now 3 beliefs that turn your pain into gain. And I use these beliefs regularly that help me deal with stress, help me deal with what's going on in the world, help me deal with relationships. And I think this will be a huge transformation for you as well. So if we can go on this journey together, man, we can feel God inside us and be able to live our soul purpose. So if you think about how many emotional and even physical traumas we've been through in our life and throughout a lifetime, man, it is amazing what the human spirit can endure, what our physical bodies can endure, and survival. Man, we can survive a lot of stuff. That's for sure, and a number of emotional pain. So what I want to go through are 3 beliefs that can transform your pain into gain, and then more importantly, how we can sabotage all those beliefs that even if you believe these, you can go ahead and sabotage them anyway. So we can eliminate the limitations and we can turn ourselves into power, which you are more powerful than you think. So what's the first belief? Well, we can transform the meaning of things that happen to you into things that happen for you. So what's the first belief? Psalm 139:16. Check this out. Your eyes have seen my unformed substance. This is like you talking to God. And in your book were all written the days that were appointed for me, not to me, for me, when as yet there was none of them. So imagine that you're sitting there with God, watching a movie trailer, you're seeing everything that you're going to go through, and your spirit is saying, yeah, put me in, coach. I want to do that. I see all these pains. I want to go through that because it's the evolution of my soul. Man, imagine if we take responsibility that we chose it. This is the first most powerful belief, because if we chose to do this and how it carries us through our soul purpose, that gives us responsibility, which leads to the next belief, which is everything happens for a reason. Now, when you believe the first one, then you have to believe the second one. That means every pain that happens in your life has some type of lesson. It has some type of gain and gift that's going to give you more clarity on who God created you to be. If you choose to see it that way, it's going to lead you to your soul purpose. If you choose to see it that way, and everything has a reason. That means the great things have a reason and the worst pain has a reason. You can't pick and choose. And so Deepak Chopra has a quote, it's a mantra, it says, most people turn to spirituality when they get tired of suffering. Isn't that the truth? And in the famous words of Bono from U2, hey, if you want to touch the sky, you better get on your knees, right? Sometimes all we can do is just look up. Sometimes faith is our most powerful tool, faith and gratitude. So when you find the gift, you release the pain. So if everything happens for a reason, then there's only one question. Did you take responsibility? And did you discover the reason? If you haven't discovered the reason that gives you gain, helps you become more connected to yourself, helps you discover God not only within you, but all around you and be connected to your origin. If you haven't found that, then you're probably still suffering with pain. If you have found that, it causes the evolution of your consciousness, gives you courage, faith, and skill. How cool is that? So let's go to the third belief. 1, you chose it. 2, everything happens for a reason. 3, now this belief came from one of the most powerful books that I've read that explains so many things, questions that I had being raised in Catholicism that just made sense to me. And it was a book by Betty Eadie called Embraced by the Light. And she had a near-death experience. She actually died in the hospital, went to heaven, met Jesus. Jesus showed her heaven and earth. She came back into her body, became a world spiritual leader, best-selling author, multiple books, and everything shifted for her. So Embraced by the Light, it's a cool little book. I would read it. And what's the third belief? Spirits celebrate all human experience because they evolve our soul. Now imagine there's spirits in heaven, and everything, because you chose it, everything that happens, spirits celebrate. Even the worst pain. Why? Because you came in for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. It's for the evolution of your soul. Now, I had a very intense life coaching experience. I was in a meditation. I was talking to a life coach to get through my own personal barriers. And it took me back into meditation to my birth process, where I had the cord wrapped around my neck twice. And with each uterine contraction, I was being strangled and I was actually dying. And so I remember being in the womb, feeling myself in this meditative state, feeling myself dying. And I said to myself, I'm not going to make it into the world to fulfill my purpose. And I remember seeing into the spirit world, there were 6 spirits. They were all kind of white, opaque, and they were waiting for me, and I could feel their loving joy welcoming me back. Even though my physical body was dying, there was total joy and celebration. And then I was, obviously I'm here, right? So it was an emergency C-section. They started to pull my body out. My spirit was already leaving the crown of my head to go towards these 6 spirits. And then my spirit had to catch up into my body. And then when I took my first breath into this world, man, I flew up out of my chair, out of this meditative state, and exploded crying with relief as I took that first life-giving breath. And then it taught me a couple things. A, we're spirit first. B, I felt the celebration. The fact that my physical body was dying. I was being welcomed with joy back into the spirit world. Isn't that amazing? All pains are celebrated in the spirit world. The question is, do you see it? Things from a spiritual consciousness. So what are those 3 beliefs? Hey, you chose the experience before you came. Everything happens for a reason. And spiritual beings celebrate all human pain because it evolves our soul. So what do all our experiences teach us? Hey, we learn about ourselves. We become more clear on our core values. We become more laser sharp with why we're here and who God created us to be. Every experience leads to our soul purpose. It gives us self-empowerment. It teaches us forgiveness. It teaches us unconditional love. And most importantly, those pains, greater the pain, the more humility, the more gratitude, the more connected that we become if we choose to see it that way. That's a choice. So let me go through a few examples of what I've been experiencing and what people in my life have been experiencing. So why, even though you may believe those, why do we keep repeating our pain? How do we keep sabotaging it? Well, it's by our language patterns. So I'm going to use an example. My nephew, Dalton, came back from the military. He had a back injury, so he was being disabled. And he would go be escorted by Rangers to go behind lines, and he would check the environment, make sure it wasn't polluted or toxic, so American forces can come in there into Afghanistan, and he's in the Middle East, and set up camp. So he'd be escorted behind the lines with Rangers. He had bullets flying over his head, missiles being shot at him while he was in a helicopter. Life-threatening situation, not only back injury, but definitely PTSD. So, what is PTSD? It's a description of symptoms that come from a highly emotional condition that cause so much stress, it gets wired into your nervous system, and basically it gives you this list of symptoms that people are confused, and medicine and psychology, like they do everything, they have to give it a name. Post-traumatic, right? Post-traumatic. So what's post-traumatic mean? Man, you had a massive trauma, and what really happens? In healthcare, we know this. It blows your adrenals out. Your adrenals get weak, your digestive tract breaks down, your immune system breaks down, your thyroid breaks down, your energy levels break down. You feel like you're going psycho. You don't know why you have all these symptoms. Your physical bodies break down. And then what happens? And then through all the confusion, you finally get a name. Thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning, Nancy. So that's it, PTSD. So you go, what? So what do you say? I have PTSD. So while he was getting evaluated by all these psychologists, you have PTSD, you have PTSD, you have PTSD. So by the time he was hanging out with me, I'm like, Dalton, you got to be careful, man. Don't own that. We have ownership language. What do some people say? My PTSD. I have this, because it gives you certainty of a label. What you had is you went through a massive emotional experience, blew out your adrenal glands. So what did we do? So I go, look, we got to get rid of that identity. He went through the 6 steps, systems of healed. He's going November 12th, 13th. He went through the online system, cleared the emotion, strengthening his adrenal glands. Now all of that's gone. So what did that PTSD do? It taught him how to be connected to God. It taught him that he's a spiritual being. It taught him that everything has a lesson. It taught him how to find the gift. He is so much more confident. It gave him focus. It gave him structure. It helped him to gain the discipline to evolve spiritually. He is a totally more empowered being than before he went into the service. Now, I'm not downplaying what people go through with their traumas. I'm not doing that at all. All I'm saying is, what is your language pattern? Do you have a language pattern of disease? I hear people, my cancer, my thyroid problem, my Hashimoto's, my this, I have that, I have this. And then we wonder why we're tortured. Where's the gift in that? So I'm not saying that people didn't go through traumas, but there's a big difference between what you experienced and who you are. We are not the things that we've been through. Those don't define who we are. They may shape our core values, and if you pull the gift out of it, they help us become more clear in who we are. They help us find our soul purpose. Now, I remember the number one most traumatic thing in my life, watching my wife take her last breath. Man, that was more exponential trauma than anything I've ever been through, and I've been through a lot just like you. Everybody's got a story. That was it. But I wouldn't be talking to you here today. I wouldn't have gained the spiritual wisdom. I wouldn't have written the book, You're More Powerful Than You Think. I wouldn't be doing an event on November 12th, 13th. I wouldn't have taken hundreds of people through spiritual evolutions, helped marriages, done all that. If I didn't go through that, I had to go through that. And maybe that was an agreement that Cindy and I set up before we even came into this world. So when you find the gift, you release the pain. What I don't say is, hey, my wife died and left me. What I do say is she got cancer. She wasn't able to clear the pain of her past, and she chose not to fight it. That's her responsibility. I had a relationship where all of a sudden the person just went crazy, started having affairs. I don't say she cheated on me. I do say she had affairs in our relationship and I broke up with her. Now, did I take those affairs personally? No. Because I'm thinking, man, I'm an amazing dude. I'm a great guy. Your self-esteem is such that you had to go boost your self-esteem having affairs with other people. So I don't say she cheated on me. I do say she had affairs. I had a business partner that embezzled about $400,000. I've had a couple $500,000 mistakes. I don't say he stole from me. I don't say they betrayed me. I do say this person embezzled money. I do say that they were a liar, and in general, it's happened to more than one person. They take advantage of other people in business. There's a big difference between what they did and ownership language. I also had another partner that would go into rage, especially when she was drinking. All of a sudden, she would drink. All of a sudden, she'd go into rage and became physically abusive. I don't say that I was physically abused. I don't say that I was hurt. Of course, I'm a man, she's a woman. I'm also a martial artist, so I wasn't injured. But I do hear people say that come out of abusive marriages, she injured me. He hurt me. He hit me. You know, all those things, the ownership language, as opposed to what I would choose. Hey, I had a partner that was physically abusive. I had a partner right, that use physical violence to try and take power. Now that describes what they do, not what happened to me. There's a big difference. So what are those three beliefs? Hey, you chose it before it happened. It happened for a reason. Every soul celebrates all the pain. So people can say, you know what? That's not fair. You don't understand. I was injured. I was abused. I was this. I was that. You know, I've also talked to a lot of people, and I hear people say, they say, you know what? When I was 17, I was date raped. So this person date raped me. You know, there's a difference. They did this to me, as opposed to this happened in my life. Once you clear it, this happened in my life. It was, what did the other person do? It's not what happened to you. Ownership language is why we hang on to the pain. And look, I'm not judging again what happened to you. In my life, I've been through sexual abuse. I've been through drug abuse. I've been through money embezzlement. I've been through the death of my wife. I've been through infidelity. I've had multiple physically disabling injuries. I've been through divorce. I've been through physical abuse from a spouse. I've owned my business for 33 years, multiple businesses, through all kinds of economies. And now my dad is on his deathbed. So this is life. Life is full of these things. The question is, how do you talk about it? So, and that's really it. Let's get rid of the ownership language. We can describe what the other person did without happening that it did to me. The real question is, how was it for you? To become more clear on who you are. To become more clear on who God is in your life. To become more clear on your soul purpose. To become more clear on the empowerment that helps you establish core values. Become more clear about who you are. And the one thing that pulls us through all of this is we're a spiritual being. We're here for a soul purpose. Our days were formed for us. We chose it before we came here. Everything happens for a reason. Find the gift, release the pain, and all spirits celebrate everything. So when we can see that from a spiritual consciousness, we can find the gift and we can release the pain. Trust me, these three beliefs help me all the time. They help me every day on small things and on some big things. If you can adopt this, man, we can make a bigger difference. Now, this is one of the things that we're going to go through on November 12th, 13th. So, hey, click on the link below, get the recording, and let's make a difference. Let's establish our belief systems. Let's see the purpose in everything that happens in our life. And then let's take other people with us as we evolve in our consciousness as well. All right. Love you guys. Peace.